Like, so again, we were doing the Mishnah Yudchet Yehuda ben Tamar Havaz Kanamer. We explained last time that it talks about 4 different types of agility, if you will, which is needed for the 4 different stages of doing a project. First thing is you need to be brazen. You need to be able to, weather a little bit risk. You gotta go. You gotta have some confidence in yourself, some trust in yourself as Kanamer. That is compared to tiger. Kal Kanesher, now light, like Nesher is usually translated as eagle. Sefer Sichat Chulin says it's vulture. Vultures are very fast. Right? Vultures have amazing eyesight and are very fast. The most recent issue of National Geographic is talking about a big problem in Africa. People have medicinal beliefs about, skull of vulture, this and that, and vultures are being hunted, and the whole ecosystem is coming to a standstill because vultures do an unbelievable job for ecosystem. They have a type of acid in their stomach that doesn't get them sick from eating spoiled carcasses, etc. It kills all types of bacteria that other creatures cannot tolerate, etc. They keep nature clean, and more than that, when the carcasses leave around, then the animals get sick because the bacteria go to the living ones, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster. So at any rate, Gemara talks about vultures' eyesight, because that's one of their tools. They could see, Gemara says miles, and I read in that thing, they could see sometimes from 30 kilometers, they could see a carcass. They have an unbelievable eyesight, and Gemara talks about that they have amazing eyesights. To be able to locate dead or dying animals, they recognize by the pattern of walk or the weakness, etc., that an animal is about to die. They start to circle. You see, the animal is not even dead. They're circling around. So be that as it may, Nesher. So then, as you start, you got to do it with an agility, right? Kalka Nesher. There's a lightness to it. There's a lightness. It should not be a burden. It should feel like it's something that could be done. And then Ratz Kesavi.
Someone's driving a white Honda parked out on the sidewalk.
Ratz Kesavi. Then comes when, one has to keep the momentum going. The excitement of the beginning is gone, and things may not be as fresh anymore, things not be as interesting anymore. So then you got to keep it going like it's a V that goes fast. Don't be lethargic about it. And finally, Gibor Kari. Finally, you will have times where you will be tested. You will have times where, it's rough going, there are bumps on the road, etc. For those times, you need to access the Ari, the lion within, which we said is the confidence. Lion is that. Okay. La'asor ratzon avicha shebashamayim. To do ratzon avicha shebashamayim. Now, very important thing. The same Mishnah includes Zuhaya Omer, Yehuda ben Tema himself, who tells me the first thing is az kaname, be brazen. You have to know every midah has the right time and the wrong time. There are moments we have to be brazen, although being brazen in general is not a good idea. Zuhaya Omer, az panim legeinam, a brazen person, one who doesn't have derech eretz, one who, being brazen. You talk to somebody, you don't have the respect to deal with them, or one who doesn't have hakarat tov. That's part of being brazen, right? Legehinam ubosh panim, but one who has boshet panim is legan eden. Okay, Yirasom lefanecha. Now he ends with a prayer. Very interesting. We'll see why we have a prayer in this Mishnah. That Hashem shetivnei rach, maybe Hashem's will that your city should be rebuilt, ותיתן חלקנו בתורתך, ואם עושה רצונך, that our portion should be with those, our portion should be in your Torah, and those who do your will. Okay. Now let's see what Rambam has to say. So Rambam points out that even though Yehuda ben Tema himself, the rabbi said, "Az panim leGehinam, a brazen person is destined for Gehinnom." Tziva be'azut betochachat hamamrim v'kayotze bahem. He's commanding us that you have to be brazen sometimes. When you have mamrim, those who stand against you, those who are out to get you, it can't be, right? One cannot always
Soft.
right? Be soft. There are moments that you need to stand up for yourself. Right? Exactly. But this is not Birak. This is somebody who's too soft, who's scared to stand up for himself. Sometimes you have to be brazen. You have to be.
But it's very hard for people who don't have it in their biologically are not born with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very,
The
very
first
hard.
step is hard.
There are certain people
The
who
first
are
time is hard.
peaceful and they cannot just.
It's not that they cannot.
It's
They
very
haven't
hard.
tried it. They haven't accessed it. It's hard to access it the first
Yes.
time. But once you see that you have it within you, I've said this many times. Rabbi Ish Chai says each one of us is full of drawers, that each drawer is full of different types of gems.
Tools. James.
He calls it gems, but he said as long as you haven't opened that drawer, you don't know what gem you have.
Yeah.
You have to try it. You have to do it.
And not only gems, you could have problems here and there.
Yeah.
I really think that the gay and lesbian is one of those things that is in you, hidden, and you can open it up and use it.
That's something else, but yes, that is true too. That is true. But the point is, yeah, a person says, I can't. I'm not that type, so do it. Do it once. Do it once. I've said this here in this forum. When they asked me to serve as the rabbi of the shul, I said, condition, I don't deal with money. I can't. I'm so shy when it comes to money. It wasn't normal even. I can't ask people for $1.
No, but
I'm still not good. I'm still not good at it. But I tell you what happened. We needed a Sefer Torah that started the campaign even before they hired me. That raised about a third of the money, and there wasn't going anywhere else. They had to approach whoever they could approach, or as much as they had interest to approach, whatever the case may be. And we needed a Sefer Torah. We needed a Sefer Torah shul. You wait a month and two, and then a year and a half passed, and it's not going anywhere. And I could keep on kvetching about it, and everybody says, yes, we should do it, we should get it. But, nobody wants to hear your complaints again and again and again. So I said, there's nothing else to do other than I do it myself. So I pushed myself so hard, I felt like an idiot. I approached people. No, look, it wasn't me. The point I'm trying, I approached people, and Baruch Hashem, I made it happen.
Yeah.
But Baruch Hashem, we had a Sefer Torah. But the point is, then I told myself, I'm not as bad as I thought. It's not impossible. It's still not my cup of tea. Still, I don't enjoy it. But I'm not afraid of it anymore. When it comes, I do it. I have done it, and I've continued to do it. Approach when the moment comes, when the time comes to somebody, and I've gotten better and better and better. That's the lesson. You open that drawer. Right now, I'm fair. I'm not the best fundraiser there is, but I'm fair. I'm okay. I could handle my own. It's not like what I thought. That is something that I could never handle.
It's not impossible.
Right? So that's really what life is all about. Life is, and especially to our children, you got to teach them. Go, okay, fine. It's not your personality. All that means is that you got to think about it. You got to work it, and you see how you do it, and you go reassess. You reassess. Okay, I approach this person. This is what I said. What could I have said better? Next time I'll do it like that. Next time, and you get better and better at it. You get better and better at it. That is the real point. Some of us are born. We are not, are born very harsh people. Some of us born just the opposite. The harsh person could be soft, and the opposite is true also. I said this another time. I could never ever get over it. Should be aliyah for her neshama. My wife's grandmother, she was a Holocaust survivor. She was a German lady. Now, Germans have that reputation of being very, very exact and particular, very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Didactic.
Very meticulous. And she personified it. You know, never saw her, you know, if her shirt and the skirt didn't absolutely match, she wouldn't come out of the room. If one thing about her wig, one hair was out of place, she didn't come out of the room. She wouldn't. She wouldn't come out of the room, right? Till the very end of her life, she wouldn't come out of the room if only her daughter was in the house, right? My mother-in-law, then later, obviously, when my mother-in-law was helping her, I got an elderly, okay, fine, but other people, she was always had to be, she was unbelievable, very fine woman, very fine woman. Never seen such a fine person in my life, and she was a pleasure to be with. Very pleasant, always smiling. You know, nothing ever fazed her. She never lost it. Her composure, never. So then, one point we convinced her, she didn't talk about it ever. One point we convinced her to share with us the story of her survival. Her husband was taken, her husband as a rabbi, you know, the Germans first took the community leaders, the rabbis, they took him. So her husband was a rabbi, was taken into Theresienstadt concentration camp. And they were newly married. He was there for a few months. First, she didn't even know where he was, so she started contacting all the different. So finally, she tracked him down in Theresienstadt. Okay, so she goes. The young newly married, she goes, talks to the commander. She takes to the general who was running the camp. She sits in his office and begs him till finally he couldn't say no anyway. He just had it enough. So look, I'm newly married. I haven't seen my husband for months. I need one night with him. Right? As much as he said, I can't. There's no leave of absence here. I don't. She just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Finally, she got it. So okay, they give her, what's going furlough for one night. You'll be back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Right? 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. 12 hours. He's out. He's allowed to be out. Okay, so he comes out. She told us. Tells me, what are we going to do with 12 hours? Well, in the middle of nowhere, middle of Theresienstadt. Right? So 12, what are we going to do with 12 hours? She's like, what 12 hours? You're not going back. You're not going back. So they walk from Germany, right? They start walking. It takes them a good while. They couldn't get on they had no papers to get on any public transportation, or they didn't have money. They didn't dare to ask for anybody to. So they walked to France. They walked to France. And then eventually they walked from France to Spain. They spent some nights in caves. As they were walking, they just walked over the border. So she said, we went in the middle of the night, we saw a cave, we slept in it, we got up in the morning. It must have been one of the caves that was used during the Civil War. It was full of skeletons. In the morning, it was so scary. Right? So the whole war, basically, they were one thing after another. So she was telling me, they survived by her shoplifting.
Wow.
Shoplifted. That's how they ate. She shoplifted. And it was clear she never said it. It was clear she was the force behind their survival. There's no question in my mind. If not for her husband wouldn't have survived. She was the force behind. But one sentence she did say, which I'll repeat to you in a minute. Right? That's how this. I said, you shoplifted? If they would ask me, I said, you couldn't. In 1,000 years, you just couldn't. He said, yes, it wasn't me, but I was what I needed to be at the time. And here is the sentence that I want to share with you. It says, eventually they ended up, I think, in England. They got some papers. They were accepted as refugees, so they boarded a ship, and they came to America. It says when we were about 20 minutes from the from the shore in New York. So I told my husband, that's it, no more. I'm back to being your wife, and you're the husband, you set the course for our family. That's what she said. Right? So, yes, she was, for a number of years, who she wasn't. She was, more than that, it wasn't her personality, but she saw the necessity. He was also, he also had a certain shit of my wife's grandfather there were certain things that was okay for him to do and certain things that Rav Shuab Zecher Tzadik Yiracha said during the war when he was in Germany. I mean, he eventually was one of the most prominent Rabbanim in America. Most bulk of his life was in America. Rav Shuab Zecher Tzadik Yiracha was one of the Gedolim of America, but as a young 30-something-year-old, he was a rabbi in Germany. So he said during that time, before he escaped, he never went to sleep in his pajamas because he was truly scared that he may be arrested in the middle of the night, and his biggest concern was how the Gentiles will see a Jewish rabbi not properly dressed. He went to sleep with his suit. Right? That was his real German Rav Shimon Schwab Zecher Tzadik Yiracha. At any rate, that's what it is. You have to be, yes, someone doesn't have azut in them. But there are moments, says Rambam, you have to use azut. And we always said, Rambam says that's what it means to be balanced. He says you go the path in the middle means what? Means you have both sides at your control. You could call upon it when you need to do it. That is the true way how a Jew is supposed to be, to fully be master of all his midot, all his character traits, and call upon them when the moment is in. Torah tells us when we need which midah, when do we need to be soft, when do we need to be flexible, when do we need to be brazen, when do we need to be harsh, etc., etc. So when you need to be the namer, be the namer. When you need to be the lion, be the lion. Okay, we will continue.